Hi there, my name is Tom McMurran. I'd like to welcome you to the Living the Coin Lifestyle and Digital Currency 101 presentation. I'm the author of the Amazon best-selling ebook, The Seventh Disruption, The Rise of the Digital Currency Billionaire, and real excited to share with you information about digital currency today. If you're a novice, if you have no knowledge whatsoever, this is a great place for you to be. Digital currency can kind of be befuddling to people. It's like new terms like blockchain and mining and stuff like that. People don't quite understand, but by the end of this presentation, you're going to understand that. But real excited about the success of the book and the interest in it. It's been on Amazon for a while, and we're real excited about the response that it's received. You know, digital currency will create a $1 trillion market and reshape human culture. I know a guy who said that. That'd be me. But I want to show you why you're at the right place at the right time, why you should recognize that you're there, and ultimately pull the trigger. So let's go ahead and get into it. You know, Coin Lifestyle 101, this is what we're going to cover in our course today. This is not a presentation. You're going to walk away going, aha, I totally get this. We're going to talk about what is the coin lifestyle. We're going to talk about what is the seventh disruption, what is digital currency, what are the benefits of digital currency, and how you can profit from digital currency. And you remember the old saying says, if you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Well, I've got good news for you. This presentation is not going to cost you a dime, and the upside potential is absolutely huge. So let's go back and reflect on a unique moment in time. And this was an exciting time for me personally because I was there at the beginning of the internet. But I saw a lot of my friends miss the opportunity. They went to work for companies doing medical supply sales and all of that. And they watched us. We got really, really wealthy investing in companies and just having a great time. And, you know, here's the question. Knowing how successful the internet has become, if I could take you back to 1991, would you, number one, go to work for an internet company? You might change your mind after you see the next slide. Would you spend more time learning about the internet? Would you be more open-minded to internet opportunities when people bring them to you? Would you listen to your friends and family about investing in risky tech stocks? I mean, how many great investment opportunities were you talked out of by Aunt Martha? Oh my God. So let's take a look at this. Well, these kind of hurt. I know some of you are going, oh, I had the opportunity to invest in American Online, or oh, I had the opportunity to invest in Amazon. How many of these companies did you have an opportunity to either invest in or go to work for? I mean, some of us, we would go to work and be janitors. If we could go back to 1991, we'd say, please just let me be a janitor so I can get my hands on some employee stock. You know, you look at what some of those companies have done. They've created $1 trillion marketplaces. I mean, look at Apple just by itself. If you had invested $1,000 in Apple, where would you be? And I laugh when I think of Forrest Gump and that letter he got, and thank you for your $100,000 investment in Apple. It's now worth $7 billion. You look at these opportunities. Well, here's the good news. I'm going to show you a page of logos that you don't recognize. And you're going to be like, well, who are these companies? Well, I got news for you. They are the future companies that you're looking at right now. The only difference is they're probably going to be bigger because they're in a bigger pond. The internet is a very small pond compared to the disruption of the financial industry. And we're talking a global disruption, not just the United States. The United States was real popular with the internet, and the rest of the world caught on. Digital currency is catching on all over the world, in Thailand, the Philippines, and Russia, you name it, it's taking off like a rocket. So here's the good news. You get a do-over. I love do-overs. The seventh disruption of digital currency is one of those unique moments in time. But the $64,000 question is this. Are you going to seize the moment and ride the next big wave, or are you going to make the same excuses and miss the evolution of digital currency? Well, we don't want you to do that. And you remember the quote? I couldn't find who said it, but he said, there's no such thing as missed opportunities. They merely pass on to the next person. Well, do not let the coin lifestyle and digital currency pass on to the next person. I think that'd be a big mistake. So let's talk about living the coin lifestyle. What does that all mean? Let's live the web lifestyle, or let's live the internet lifestyle. So many people have dreamed of doing that. Our intention when we started this was to create awareness about digital currency and provide a rewarding way of life designed to empower you with total control of your financial future, get this, without banks, without government issued currency, and without debt. Does that sound appealing to you? I know it does to me. Our mantra is live where you want to live how you want to live, and create wealth doing it. Here's my vision, okay? I want to be on a sailboat, at least 90 feet, but I want to sail all around the world. And when I'm in port, I want to be able to connect to the internet and, look at my digital currency investments and my accounts and look at what's going on in the sales teams I've built around the world for digital currency. I want to be able to live that life. That, to me, is what the coin lifestyle is all about. Now, you might want to do it on the ski slopes. You might want to do it on the beach. You might want to do it in the big city. I don't know what your dream is, but you definitely have to come here with a dream. I mean, if you want to create wealth, you've got to have a dream in front of you. You've got to have your why in front of you. So our mantra, live where you want to live how you want to live, and create wealth doing it. You can define that any way you want to. Now, the Coin Lifestyle Manifesto, we have 4 elements to it. First is we want you to get educated. We don't want you to come into this blind. We want you to eyes wide open when you come in here. Invest 15 minutes a day reading an article or watching a video. We want you to build your own jigsaw puzzle of the future of digital currency for your life. Get experienced. Conduct your first transaction, and we're going to help you do that. We'll actually give you the money to do it. We'll send you some Bitcoin, and we set you up, and in 5 minutes you can make a donation to the United Way with our 2 little videos that we give you. That's the first thing we want you to do, because we want to make it real. We want to show you that doing business in digital currency is just as easy as doing business in regular currency. Actually, sometimes it's easier. Hence we want it to become a part of your lifestyle. That's why we call it the coin lifestyle. I'm at a point now where I'm buying groceries, I'm buying gas, I'm buying stuff on Amazon. I'm doing everything through digital currency. I'm paying my contractors, I'm paying my developers. I receive money for services, for consulting services. I do business in digital currency, and I like that because I feel liberated. I feel like, hey, even if currencies go underwater, government-issued currencies, I know how to conduct business without the need of government currency, and I love that. The third thing is we want you to get engaged. We want you to share the coin lifestyle with others and grow our tribe. Now, we use the word tribe because it comes from Seth Godin's book called Tribes. And we just have a powerful mission. We have a powerful manifesto. We have with the 7th disruption, we are beating our drums, okay? We're out there telling people that are fearful of what we're doing, there's no need to fear it. You should be embracing this. And the only reason you fear it is because you don't know where to start. And at the end of this presentation, you'll know exactly where to start. And that first thing we're going to do is we're going to give you a little bit of education. I want you to download our ebook for free. Get a free membership to the Coin Lifestyle and start educating yourself, and then do that first transaction. And after you do that, you'll be like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe it's so easy. And if you've ever used PayPal, or if you've ever used Microsoft, their e-wallet, or you've used Google Pay, anything like that, Apple Pay, any of Google Wallet or Apple Pay, get those reversed, but you will know how to do digital currency. The only difference is we don't use a government currency. Okay, we use a digital currency, which you'll see there's really no difference in the end. Get wealthy. That's the 4th element of our Coin Lifestyle Manifesto. You can earn referral fees if you want to refer people to what we're doing, or you say, hey, Tom, I'm not into building teams. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I have a business and I want to be able to accept digital currency because my competitor's doing it already. Well, you're going to find that out. There's over 150,000 businesses worldwide accepting Bitcoin already. And there's a whole bunch that are about to accept OneCoin, because OneCoin, if you take MasterCard, you'll be able to accept OneCoin. That's pretty cool, huh? How about trading digital currencies? If you kind of got that trader mentality, you want to buy low and sell high, well, you can do that. There's all kinds of awesome trading platforms like Gemini and Coinbase. These are like the E-Trades. These are like the TD trades. I mean, they already exist and they're out there, and people are trading digital currencies just like they do stock. Okay, let's talk about what a disruption is. And a disruption is really serious. A disruption occurs when the value chain that's vital to the existence, okay, meaning if it's cut, that company, industry, or country is gone, okay? But vital to the existence of a company, industry, or country is cut, re-engineered, or made obsolete. Okay, and we have seen this happen a bunch of times. Wikipedia, when was the last time you had an encyclopedia salesperson come to your door? Netflix, when was the last time you went into a Blockbuster Video? not been for a while, huh? Napster wiped out the music industry and turned it into iTunes and Clear Channel and Live Nation. Okay, just totally changed the landscape of the music industry. Record labels are really no more. When was the last time you went into a Tower Records? Google, when was the last time you went to the library and had to look something up at the library because you didn't know where to find it? You know, no more of those card catalogs, huh? Some of you don't remember that, but we do. Airbnb, disrupting the hospitality industry. You can rent people's homes, a bedroom in their home, their entire home, their motor home. Airbnb rents everything, and they're a threat to the hospitality and hotel industry. Uber is disrupting the taxi cab industry and the limo industry in a very big way. Ford, you're like, what is Ford doing on there? Ford disrupted the horse and buggy industry. You remember? Well, maybe some of you don't. I know I don't. We know that it did. AOL disrupted the you got mail industry in a very big way. A government agency that used to be profitable is now losing $70 to $80 billion a year. Okay, well, that's called a disruption last time I checked. Tesla is disrupting the energy industry, not the car industry, the energy industry, because they are proving that electric cars work, and the rest of the industry is having to follow suit because people like the idea of being off of fossil fuel. OneCoin is disrupting really the digital currency industry. They're kind of like the AOL. They're coming along and making everything easy and getting the masses online with over 800,000 people using OneCoin in really the last 14 months. It's pretty amazing. That 800,000 will quickly turn into 5 million people worldwide, and it will become a huge force in the digital currency industry. WordPress, you know, hey, if you've got a blog, you can create a media empire. I mean, look what TMZ did, and Perez Hilton and all the different bloggers that are out there. And I could have put YouTube up here too, definitely a disruptor as well. I mean, there's hundreds of companies that I could put up here that have disrupted industries, but those are ones that you're most likely familiar with. So that's what a disruption is. Now, there were 6 disruptions probably in our lifetime if you're watching this presentation, but these are technological platforms that have created trillion-dollar markets and reshaped human behavior. TV is one of them. We know that certainly has been a disruptor. Internet has really disrupted the publishing industry. There's a lot of newspapers that are acting kind of the way the banks are today. Oh, you know, digital currency is no big deal. Well, that's what the big newspapers were saying about the internet, and boy, did they change their tune. So many of them went out of business. There are printing presses out of business all around the world. Email obviously disrupted the postal industry, and I've already told you the story on that one. They're hemorrhaging $80 billion a year, and if they were a private enterprise, they would have gone out of business. You can't lose $80 billion a year. That's insane. Mobile is disrupted, well, everybody's driving habits. I mean, mobile's disrupted everything. I could go on and forever, but you know that to be true. That platform is absolutely amazing. E-commerce and Amazon has disrupted malls. They say in 10 years, there'll be more vacant malls than there are open malls. That's pretty amazing. That's a lot of big real estate out of business. If I was a mall developer, I'd be a bit concerned. Social media has disrupted the dating industry. It's disrupted Madison Avenue. It has disrupted, the job placement industry. So those were 6 technological platforms that have created trillion-dollar marketplaces. I mean, social media, just the top 5 companies alone, their market caps are close to $1 trillion between Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and some of the other big players, Match.com. I mean, there's some massive ones. LinkedIn, major companies. Pinterest, just phenomenal. I mean, the market sizes. And you got to understand, social media really just started a decade ago. So it really hasn't been around that long. To create $1 trillion marketplace in a decade is pretty awesome. So the 7th disruption, you got 6 disruptions, you got 6 technology platforms. This is the 7th one. It's called blockchain technology. And you're like, oh boy, what's that word? Well, number 1, blockchain is a free downloadable software, and it facilitates peer-to-peer, some people don't know what that means, but computer-to-computer consensus-based transactions. And the best way for me to explain that, if you remember Napster, if you downloaded a song from somebody, it came from other people's computers. It could be coming from 20 different people's computers, and that's what they call peer-to-peer, and not a central computer. And a central computer just connected you. Okay, and these are consensus, meaning you agreed upon the transaction. So that's what a peer-to-peer consensus-based transaction is. 40 million users worldwide have downloaded blockchain technology. That's amazing. It's the most powerful financial computing transaction network in the world. It's 420 times more powerful than all of the supercomputers in the USA combined. Guys, you can't make this stuff up. It's real. Okay, it's out there. It's all over the internet. And here's the interesting thing about it. There is no central authority for blockchain software. So if you want to go build your own financial institution on the blockchain and do transactions or title transactions or escrow transactions, this software is available for you to build on top of it. It's all open source. Nobody controls it except for actually the community. It's a decentralized community governed, and there's no way to shut it down. The only way to shut down blockchain technology is if you shut down the entire internet. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think you'd be shutting down the world if that happened. Now, the disrupted. Who will be the disrupted? Who's vulnerable to the seventh disruption? Any industry or organization that uses an intermediary or a middleman or middlewoman to conduct a paper or electronic transaction. That's worth repeating. Any industry or organization who uses an intermediary, middle person, to conduct a paper or electronic transaction. Well, right off the rip, that includes banks, title and escrow companies, money transfer services, medical records and billing is going to be a gigantic industry. Governments. I mean, there'll be governments that literally are put out of business because people come up with better mousetraps to conduct government. Voting, it would be one of them that can be done on the blockchain. Completely transparent, irreversible, and without fraud. Wouldn't that be cool? There are some people who don't want that. So here are some of the disruptionistas. And I always jokingly tell people, you'll probably go tell all your friends and Aunt Martha, oh, I'm going to invest in digital currency. And they're going to go, what? That's a scam. That's Silk Road. That's, murder for hire. That's drug dealers. And you know what's so funny? They did the same thing back in the internet in 91 when we told them everybody they needed to get online. Oh, no, those are like pornographers and crazy people that use computers to connect with each other, and all they do is transfer illegal secrets and stuff like that. Couldn't be further from the truth. Anyway, we look at what's going on here. These are the people that are behind Bitcoin and blockchain technology and digital currency. These are the luminaries. These are the experts. These are the investors. I mean, Richard Branson, the guy's a billionaire. I think he's got more cred than your Aunt Martha or even your father or even your financial advisor who doesn't even know what blockchain technology is. Marc Andreessen, the internet browser that you're viewing this presentation through, that dude invented it, okay? And he says this will change everything, digital currency, referring to digital currency. And that's the guy that invented the internet browser. And he's saying digital currency will change everything. Ben Bernanke has been on record of saying very positive things about digital currency and how it could revolutionize our capital system. Okay, it's a pretty bright guy. Some people don't like him, but he's a pretty bright guy. There's a guy named Eric Schmidt. He's the CEO of a small company called Google. He says it's a remarkable cryptographic achievement and has the ability to create something not duplicatable in the digital world. It has enormous value. Okay, this guy's probably got a little more cred than Aunt Martha as well. I'm suspecting she may have gone, to a community college or gone to a 4-year degree. I don't know, but this guy's a pretty bright guy. Then you got Dr. Rusha Ignatova. I mean, here's a lady that worked at McKinsey. She's consulted. She's built. She created a company that's the fastest company in the history of the world to do $1 billion in revenue. Faster than any other company in the world, and a brilliant woman, and she's all over the internet as somebody who is advocating the future of money. She's been featured at many conferences with The Economist and Forbes, and just really an amazing woman. Michael Novogratz, Fortress Investment Group, the guy manages like $50 billion. He's unbelievable. He's investing his personal money in the infrastructure of the blockchain and digital currency. Maybe you've heard of Peter Thiel. Here's another guy that's an absolute stud. He says it's worth thinking about money is money as the bubble that never ends. There's sort of a potential that Bitcoin could become this new phenomenon. Okay, here's a guy that is absolutely a stud in business. I think he was one of the creators of PayPal. Pretty bright guy. Then you got Tim Draper. Here's another guy that manages like $30 billion. I mean, this guy he's like one of the biggest investors in Bitcoin behind Marc Andreessen. Okay, and then Peter Diamandis in the lower right-hand corner, the founder of the X Prize, has been well quoted as saying, this is the future. That digital currency and Bitcoin and blockchain is where it's at. So these people, please do me a favor, research this before you take Aunt Martha's, because Aunt Martha talked you out of Apple. Just remember that. Aunt Martha talked you out of investing in Microsoft. Don't listen to her again. These are disruptionistas. These are absolute studs in the digital currency industry that are advocating digital currency in a very big way. And by the way, there's about 50 more I could put on the screen that you would recognize their names. So here are the logos of the future. I showed you Apple and Microsoft and all of those. These are the logos that you are going to see. These are the opportunities of the future. Now, my personal strategy is I want to find a way to put $1,000 in each one of these. Okay, I want to be like Forrest Gump. I want to put 100,000 in one of them. I think I know which one. Anyway, not going to mention which one it is, but I'm a real fan of it. But looking at Bitcoin and definitely putting $1,000 every month in Bitcoin and Litecoin. There's so many great places to diversify your financial portfolio. Now this is still a very high risk industry, just as the internet was. So you got to use some common sense. You don't go put all your life savings in digital currency. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not giving you advice. I'm just telling you what I'm doing because I see this industry as the next internet. The only difference is it's going to be 5 to 10 times bigger, and the opportunities are going to be 5 to 10 times bigger. Okay, so you're like, what the heck, a Mustang? What's this have to do with the presentation? Well, this is where the fun begins. We're going to start talking about digital currency and what it is. Because you're like, okay, Tom, I get that this is big. I get that there's major people behind it. I'm not going to let Aunt Martha talk me out of this. I know I'm at the right place at the right time. Now I just need to understand this dang thing. Anyway, let's start with a Ford Mustang. The interesting thing about digital currency is it's finite, meaning when you create a mathematical equation to create digital currency, it's capped at how many coins it can actually create. Now, there's no physical coin. A coin is synonymous with a serial number, and we'll get into that here in just a second. Everything's a serial number. Anything that's got value is a serial number, okay? The Mustang was a serial number as well, and I'll tell you what I mean by that in a minute. But there were 689,440 of these manufactured in 1965. I doubt there's that many on the road today. Maybe there's 189,000. I don't know. But the bottom line is the car was finite. Even if there was 689,000 on the road, there'd be a huge demand for them because people love this car. It was the #1 sold car in the world, still holds that record today. But the cool thing about digital currency is it's finite as well. So when you create a digital currency, you say, okay, we're going to, like with Bitcoin, they're creating 21 million coins. That's it. Once they're issued, there's no more. Some will get lost. Some will get used. People will store away for a long time. And so there'll be a limited number of those 21 million that are actually on the open market available for trade. And we'll talk about how they increase in value. But just like the Mustang, digital currency is finite, and there's a way that the communities regulate that as well to make sure that that it doesn't produce more than what they say they're going to produce. And I'll tell you about that here in a second. The value of possession is in the serial number. You can own a Ford Mustang, but if you don't have that title with that serial number in the upper left-hand corner and you don't show ownership of it, then that Mustang is worthless to you. Okay, you might be able to go sell it for scrap. You might be able to sell it to somebody without a title, but it's certainly not for the value that you could if you had the title and the serial number. So the VIN number, the vehicle identification number, is unique on every single one of those 689,440 Mustangs. Okay, each number was different. Well, guess what? If you pull out any bill in your pocket, you will find out that they all have serial numbers as well. And that's really where the value is. Without that serial number on that $100 bill, that serial number is worthless. It's worthless anyway. It's a promissory note that owes a whole bunch of debt behind it. But that number is basically a CUSIP number, a bond number that's tied to an issuance of debt. which means the holder of that is responsible for the debt. And how about the euro? The euro also has a serial number as well. So you're like, okay, so maybe it's not too bad to deal in serial numbers. We deal with them all day long. When we do a credit card transaction, they produce a transaction number, and that's a serial number that identifies that transaction. So the fact that digital currency is merely a serial number, you should not discount the value of it, because just about everything you do in financial transactions is a serial number. The only difference is like the Mustang. The Mustang has a raw material value to it, but that $100 bill doesn't. They say, oh yeah, you can redeem this at the Federal Reserve, and they'll redeem it for what? They won't redeem it for anything. It's a promissory note. Okay, you won't get any gold or silver. That's been gone since Nixon. So when you look at the value, you trust that serial number on that $100 bill, even though it's worth nothing, even though it's actually tied to a liability that you're responsible for as a taxpayer, to the tune of about $20 trillion. Okay, I like handing people $100 bills. Say, here, would you like this $100 bill? And they go, oh yeah, absolutely. And I say, well, great. Here's a promissory note for $1,480, because if you take this, that's what you owe in return. That's what you're on the hook for. And they're like, why is that? It's because that's how much debt we have, and you as a taxpayer are responsible for it. So the U.S. government has done a great job of basically imprisoning us, with debt, to where people have to continue work, pay for their Ford pickup or their Chevy pickup or whatever car they have, because debt is the ultimate imprisonment tool. And I don't think you'll argue with me. And I'm not saying every country does that, not just the United States, but it's a way to keep people on the plantation and keep them working. And I hope you're not offended by that example, but in reality, when you look at the dynamics of it, I'm not far off. The idea is, can you live on the plantation without debt and without having to, work if you don't want to? That's the big question. Okay, and if I could answer that, you could, with the way we're doing business, and I'm excited about that. So, how is the market value of the dollar, of the Mustang, of the euro? How are they determined? Well, it's pretty straightforward. The value is determined by auction or by exchange. See all those people standing around bidding on that car? Well, that's the same way they do the US dollar, and it's the same way they do digital currency. So the fact of the matter is, digital currency's value is actually determined the same way the dollar is or the Mustang is. So why would you have a problem with it? Is if the community's huge and everybody's bidding on it and the community's growing, guess what happens to the value of your digital currency, of your serial number? It's going to go up in value. So value is determined by an auction or an exchange, and there's exchanges like Coinbase and Gemini, and there's a whole bunch of them that you can actually trade on. Itbit is another big one. And so considering the value of the 1965 Mustang, in 1965 it was $2,320. Well, in 2015, it was $25,500, 10 times the value. Okay, now why? Number one, because the 1965 Mustang is finite. There was only a certain number of them produced. It's an auction-driven market value. So the car's really not worth that raw material-wise, but that's what people are willing to pay for it. Well, guess what? Same way the dollar operates, same way digital currency operates. Bitcoin right now is at $471 per coin. You know what it's worth, its intrinsic value is? Zero. Okay? It has no value whatsoever. But that's what the community trusts the currency, and the community has driven it to that value. Now, it can go down to 200, it could go up to 1,000. So it does fluctuate in value. But interesting thing about it, back in February when I saw the issue going on in Greece, I was like, you know what? I want to start putting some money into Bitcoin, because I think people in Greece will start buying Bitcoin and using it to transact business. And pretty interestingly enough, it went from $210 all the way up to $500. So the money I put in there, my buying power actually almost tripled in value, which was pretty awesome. But when you look at the value of the Mustang, it's determined by a community. The bigger the community, the more demand there is for the finite number of Mustangs. So if you have 5 million people who love Mustangs, the value is going to be X. If you have 50 million people who love the Mustang, the value is going to be X times 10. And each Mustang, remember, has a vehicle identification number. And so the value, that 25,000, if you took the number of Mustangs that are on the market today and multiplied them times 25,500, which is the average selling price at an auction, you would end up with the market capitalization of the 1965 Mustang, which I think is pretty cool. Now, another thing to consider is digital currency, just as the Mustang, required paid-in energy to produce the asset. Okay, so labor had to go in, capital had to go in, raw materials had to go in. Well, guess what? In a digital currency, energy has to go in, paid in capital has to go in. I've traded some of my worth less promissory notes for digital currency, which has actually gone up in value. So I've been able to convert a debt note that I use to transact business in the United States called a $100 bill. I was able to turn it into a Bitcoin or a half a Bitcoin and watch it turn into the value of almost a Bitcoin and a half. Okay, which is pretty cool. I like taking worthless currency and turning it into currency that increases in value. I don't know about you, but it makes sense to me. I like that equation. Now, let's look at the comparison. The difference between the 1965 VIN number and digital currency serial number, a Mustang can't be fractionalized. So if I owe you $2,500, I can't send you 10% of my Mustang. So that's not realistic. Mustang's not easily portable, so if I want to go shopping, I really can't take it with me like I can my mobile phone and my digital currency wallet that's on my phone. The audience is limited for the Mustang. Not everybody around the world is going to be interested in the Mustang, whereas everyone around the world is interested in transacting business. And I want you to know something. There's 6 billion people that don't have access to organized financial services. And Bitcoin solves that problem. The other 6 billion people around the world, as long as they have a mobile phone, they can download an e-wallet and they can transact business in Bitcoin. Okay, the traditional banking industry doesn't want anything to do with them because they're not profitable customers for them. Okay, so the Mustang also has a raw material value. That's one thing that that Bitcoin and digital currencies don't have, and frankly, neither does the dollar. So I don't even know. People make the argument, well, Bitcoin's worthless. I go, well, so is the paper money that you're spending in the United States and Europe and Greece. It's all worthless. Okay, because there's more debt than there's more debt than we have interest money to pay on. We don't have enough revenue to pay the interest on our debt. That's pretty bad. Just in the United States alone, $20 trillion. Oh my God. Digital currency has no raw value. It's portable. It can be broken into millions, and the audience is global, okay, which I think is very neat. Attributes. Oh, so by the way, when I mean global, it means I can use the money anywhere. It's the same price everywhere. I don't have currency exchange and all that rip-off stuff they do with currency exchange. But digital currency is a trusted language. That's all it is. It's a language that says, hey, if I trade you a Bitcoin today, you translate that into $451. That's what that's the translation of what one Bitcoin is. If I translate one coin, it's $4.30. So if I translate a Litecoin, this is what it is. And that value, that language is created by the community and it's communicated by the community. So if I'm doing transactions with you and you trust the digital currency, I can transfer it to you as a form of a language. Digital currency is a unique serial number, just like the 65 Mustang. Okay, but it can be fractionalized. That's the only difference. It does take in paid-in capital or energy to create digital currency. You can't create it with debt. Debt is not an option in digital currency. Okay, not one of its attributes, which is good because debt is an imprisonment tool. Transactions are conducted peer-to-peer, which means it's computer to computer. There's no central authority. There's no central bank. The community regulates everything that goes on. So when I make a transaction, every computer that's running the software, if I send $20 to Bob in Bitcoin, my account drops by 20 in value and Bob's value increases on his computer, and that changes on all the computers around the world. All the computers around the world verify that I had that money to send to Bob. If Bob spends it, they deduct it from his account and add it to whoever else. It's a ledger. It's a big ledger is all it is. And these peer-to-peer computers monitor it. Now, if you try and defraud the Bitcoin network, you're going to need about, I think it's somewhere around $500 billion worth of energy, and you have to be able to do it within a 10-minute period, and that's if the community doesn't see you trying to replicate transactions. Okay, it's that powerful, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I told you there was over 40 million computers running it, and it was 420 times more powerful than all the supercomputers in the U.S. combined. So that pretty much rules out fraud right there. Okay, it can appreciate and depreciate in value. There are no intermediaries, no bankers to take your money. Okay, no bankers to sit. How many times have you had your money sat on over the weekend and it just pissed you off? Okay, I hate that. And there's no need because you know they had it the minute the transaction. They could look on the computer and the money was in their account and they go, oh, we have to wait 3 days for it to clear. It's like that's the biggest lie in the world. Okay, it is instant and there's no fees. So when I send you money in Bitcoin, there's no check is in the mail. The minute I press send, your thing, your phone pings, okay, or your computer pings. And if you've done a transaction with us, you know how quick it is. But trust and transparency is the underlying asset. Okay, it's what the community deems the value of it is, and if the blockchain, the public ledger, it has integrity and nobody messes with it, which they really can't with the blockchain anymore because it's so huge, people just trust it. I hate to say it, but they trust it a little bit more than they do central banks because central banks are just pouring debt and just, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it's sad actually. I have kids and I worry for them, you know. And if you do too, if you have grandkids, you know what I'm talking about. But it's just no future for them to grow up in, have being obligated to 30 or 40 trillion dollars in debt that they didn't create. That's not their responsibility. But look at the benefits of digital currency. It can increase in value over time. I mean, what if you buy one coin at $4 and it goes to $40? Well, your buying power increased times 10, okay? I don't see the dollar or the euro or the Swiss franc doing that anytime soon. There's no opportunity for identity theft or counterfeiting. The blockchain is too powerful for that. Now, if you lose your passwords, okay, and somebody gains access to your computer and your mobile phone, yeah, they could steal your money. But that's not identity theft. Identity theft is when they steal your social security and they turn into you and they open accounts in your name and stuff like that. You can't do that with Bitcoin. Okay, you can't do that with the blockchain. So identity theft and all that stuff, all those packages that you buy and credit protection and all that stuff, just don't think that's a ruse by the banks trying to create more profit, okay? It's not necessary. And here's the problem. When you do a financial transaction, your packet of information travels from, let's say, Target to their credit card processor to their bank, from their bank to whoever vendor they owe the money to or whatever. But every time it touches a different person, your packet of financial information is exposed and available for a hacker to gain access to. Well, guess what? When I send money over Bitcoin, I can publish my account number publicly. Nobody can hack it. Nobody can steal from me. And none of my financial information is associated with that number. So if you're into privacy, that's probably one of the biggest selling points of digital currency is that integrity and privacy that it has. Okay, you're not exposed. So if you've ever had your identity stolen, if you're not chasing down digital currency and loving it, something's you just like abuse. Okay, you just don't want you want more identity fraud. I hope not. But the benefits are strong. No debt. Transactions are instant, no fees, global pricing. It's the same value everywhere in the world. No government or central bank manipulation. What happens if you're in Greece and they do government controls and they limit you to $50 per day that you can take out? Well, if you got your Bitcoin account, you walk down to the Bitcoin ATM machine, you can take out as much as you want. Okay, there's no government controls on Bitcoin. They don't control it. They can't control it. Okay, it's portable, it's private, and it's globally accessible. So, I mean, you think about, people traveling all over the world. I don't even have to travel across, I don't even have to take electronic devices with me. I can travel to a computer anywhere in the world and access a computer and access my money. So all this, traveling with more than $10,000 or anything, that it's kind of bull is what it is. It's just a way to control you and track people who are spending money around the world. Okay, I don't think it's all that important when you look in the huge scheme of things. Most people are doing business honestly around the world. Now, accumulate. You're like, okay, Tom, I love this. Tell me how to get my hands on digital currency. Okay, great. Become a merchant and accept it for goods and services. You can go to bitpay.com. It's an Atlanta vendor here in Atlanta, and they will set you up as a vendor to be able to accept digital currencies for payment of your products, and they'll put all your products in a shopping cart, and you can actually accept digital currency. If you're a consultant like me, somebody owed me $150 the other day, and I just typed it into my app. It created a QR code and a serial number. I sent it to him. He plugged it into his thing, and the money instantly transferred into my account. It was real easy. I just typed in the amount and cut and pasted something and sent it to him. That's all I had to do, and he paid for it. And I didn't have to worry about identity fraud either. Okay? You can acquire it from an exchange. You can set up an account with like Coinbase or Itbit or Gemini, just like you would a stock brokerage account, and you can go buy $1 million worth of digital currency if you want to. You can actively trade for profits if you want to. If you think, hey, every time it drops below 300, I'm going to buy, and every time it breaks above 400, I'm going to sell. Well, you can do that with digital currency, and the spreads are relatively thin. If you're a trader, you know what that means. If you don't worry about it. Mine the coins at wholesale and use them or sell them at retail. Now, this is where the real opportunity, and this is, and there are some really great mining opportunities right now where you can get the coins, let's say you get them at $4, and by the time you pull them out and they hit your account, they're worth $8 or $10. It's those kind of opportunities that you really need to seize now, and get with the person who sent you this video and say, teach me how to mine coins now. I know when my dad read my book, that was the first question he asked me. He read the book, he goes, okay, so how can I use my computer to mine coins and get them at wholesale? That was his first question. Earn commissions and coins referring other people to the members of the Coin Lifestyle. We have some really great opportunities where you can sell educational packages, and you can earn commissions and convert some of those commissions into coins and into mining opportunities, which that is a great way also of accumulating coins. If you don't have a lot, if 2008 maybe his major pocketbook a little bit thin, there are some opportunities for you to do that. And Coin Lifestyle, you can get involved for less than, I think it's $25 a month. They have an 80% commission on their program, and some great retreats and some other ways to make money. As you grow your business, you can start accumulating coins now. And folks, we're at the very beginning. You're very fortunate to have a presentation that can outline it, because these presentations didn't exist 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, not even a year ago. There was these, Bitcoin people going around trying to make it all complicated like it was rocket science and confusing everybody and scaring everybody. We've gotten to a point where we've like AOL'd it. We're like, dude, this is simple. It's like PayPal. Just sign up. Get your e-wallet. It's all inclusive in the account. You're good to go. Put your money in. Get your mining going. You don't have to set up fancy computers and servers and video cards and all that garbage anymore. That's what scared everybody away. Is they're like, well, police are going to come visit me because my power bill is tripled, and they'll think I'm growing drugs in my attic. Trust me, that happened. So if all of a sudden your power bill quadruples, you're probably going to get a visit. There's probably going to be a cruiser sitting around your house somewhere. Some people are going, oh, that's why he was out there. Anyway, but we like to have fun too, by the way. So earn commissions and coins, referring other people to Coin Lifestyle. Great way to do it. Okay, so let's talk about getting started. Digital currency is better experienced than explained. My friend Andreas Antonopoulos says that, and I love that. And he's very true. And so does Roger Ver. And it's very true. You just got to go do it. Okay? And there's nothing you can break. There's nothing you can lose. We're going to give you the first money anyway. And go try it. Have some courage. I mean, courage is a prerequisite of building wealth, by the way. And so is risk, too. So if you're risk adverse, this may not be the best industry for you. You may want to go, go look at something else. But join the Coin Lifestyle and request your free. And by the way, you can do that for free and request your free copy of The Seventh Disruption. I'm also going to give you an audio book. I'm going to give you a podcast. We're going to give you a bunch of stuff, and you're going to have links and everything. Set up a blockchain.info wallet. Also, you can set up other wallets with companies like OneCoin and Coinbase. We want you to have several e-wallets so you can get familiar with how to do business and conduct a transaction outside of a government-issued, what they call fiat currency. That's government-issued currency, debt-based currency, if you will. Do a transaction outside of government-issued currency. A lot of people are like, wow, that was really cool. I just did my first commercial transaction outside of a government-issued currency. And I mean, you did them maybe in the past with Beanie Babies and marbles and walnuts and baseball cards, but to actually donate money to like United Way or buy something on Amazon or go to Overstock.com or buy a plane ticket on CheapOair, whatever. There's so many different ways you can use Bitcoin. It's very, very cool. 150,000 businesses, and if they don't take Bitcoin, typically you can buy, say, a gift card off of Gyft.com. That's GYFT.com. And we teach you all of this stuff in our videos, so you don't have to write all that down. But there's just such an incredible opportunity to learn how to do business outside of the debt-based world. And that's what really encouraging people to do is if you don't like debt and you want to be out of debt, this is a great avenue, a great place for you to start. Begin mining and accumulating coins. I've already told you mining is the #1 opportunity. Any digital currency that launches where there's a mining opportunity, where it's simple, where you don't have to buy all these fancy computers, you ought to jump on it and look at it, because especially if they have a proven way of building their community, because that's going to be very important. And then share the Coin Lifestyle story. Share this video and start earning referral fees. I mean, we're not hard pressing people. I mean, either people get it and they go, dude, I do not want to miss the next internet. I do not want to miss Internet 2.0. That's really what people are excited about. Now, let me share something exciting with you, and I'm just about done here. But look at this. Bitcoin has already paved the path for us. Bitcoin's the #1 producing investment in the history of the world. It went from 10 cents to $1,203 in 5 years, and you're like, oh yeah, but look, it dropped all the way back down. It dropped down to $250, and now it's back up to $500 again. Okay, and they say this thing could go to $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 per coin. I mean, there's only 21 million of them, so there's not that many of them out there, okay? So the opportunity for this thing to absolutely explode and create wealth for you is incredible. And people say, well, once you're in digital currency, can you go back into debt-based currency, fiat-based currency? The answer is yes. You sell it on the exchange, and they'll put it in your account in any currency that you want, anywhere in the world. And I love that about Bitcoin, is it gives you the flexibility to increase your value of your spending power. I mean, think about it. If you have say a US dollar, and this is my milk example, should milk be $5 a gallon 30 years later? No, it should be like 30 cents a gallon. The only problem is it takes 80% more money to purchase the same gallon of milk. And guess what? Do you think the process of developing milk has gotten more expensive over time, or if it's gotten cheaper? It's gotten cheaper, okay, because they have automated machines that do it now. They have all kinds of hormones that produce more milk. I mean, it's crazy. But you think about, why is milk, $5 instead of $1? It's because your currency is worth 80% less. Now, on the other hand, what if you had a currency that went from $1 to $5 and milk stayed the same price? Well, all of a sudden, you're buying milk for a lot less money out of your pocket because your currency has increased in value. Now, think of that dynamic for a minute. Do you want a currency 5 or 10 years from now that buys you less, or do you want a currency 5 or 10 years from now that buys you more? Well, that's a BFO. That's a blinding fact of the obvious. So what are you doing sitting around, man? You're sitting here, you ought to be on the phone right now asking people, dude, how can I mine coins? How can I get my hands on coins? So here's the summary for you. All things considered, Bitcoin has already proven the blockchain technology. It works. It's all around the world. 40 million computers run it. The AOLs have launched. The OneCoins, the Litecoins. There's all kinds of companies that have launched, and there's a whole bunch of digital currencies, not just a few of them. There's hundreds of them, and there's probably only 10 serious players right now. But the AOLs have launched, and they're making it easier for you to use digital currency as part of your lifestyle. Billionaires and luminaries are investing in and prognosticating the future of digital currency. That's a big word for saying they're predicting it. Okay, so there's already big people saying it's the future. Okay, and I think they like the idea of a decentralized currency rather than a centralized currency, because right now there's about 10 or 12 families that control most of the money in the world. Wouldn't it be interesting to have a currency where the other 4 billion people around the world control the currency instead? I like that idea. Okay, government issued currencies are buried in debt, and they're declining rapidly in value. Frankly, some people are scared. I mean, we look at what's going on in Puerto Rico and Greece and Spain. It's pretty scary what's going around in the world. And I mean, the United States too. I mean, you look at the value of our currency, it's very suspect. And China, if they start experiencing massive problems, they're going to be calling some debt. And I'm not sure we have it to give to them. Okay, $1 trillion industry is being disrupted, the banking and finance industry, and massive wealth is already being created. There are already people becoming worth millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in this business already. I would suspect there's some that have already become billionaires because of digital currency. And it's just the beginning. I suspect there will be trillion-dollar companies created in this space, and one of them is probably very much on track to do it already, and I'm excited about being a part of that company and having put some money in that company. You know, mining coins is where the opportunity is, folks, and you need to jump on that as quickly as possible. And frankly, diversifying is I've done in my own personal self. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but that's what I'm doing personally, because I totally believe in the seventh disruption. I totally believe in the rise of the digital currency billionaire, and I hope that you want to be a part of it. Now, live the coin lifestyle. Here's a quote I'm going to leave you with. If your dreams are bigger than your excuses, you will live the life you've always dreamed of. If your excuses are bigger than your dreams, you will live an excuse of a life. Now, only you can decide that. You're at the right place at the right time. The question is, are you going to seize it? Are you going to pull the trigger? Get back with the person who invited you to this presentation and secure your free membership. Get your education, get your experience, start educating others, engage and start building the coin lifestyle, and start earning incredible money in this awesome industry. Here's the bottom line. You're going to seize it and own it. And I love this. Don't let the illusion of security steal your future dreams. 9/10 of the law is what you've been operating under all your life. Somebody else has possessed your money, and if the banks have currency control, they are the owners of the money, and they're going to control it. But you know what? Digital currency is about 10/10 of the law. Nobody can possess it. Nobody can take it from you, because it is a serial number. Okay? You don't even have to have an e-wallet. You can have them all written down on paper. And anywhere you are in the world, that paper, that ownership, that value is yours. And if you don't understand 10/10 of the law, digital currency is one of the few things that has that attribute, and you really ought to pay attention to it, because 9/10 of the law can be very dangerous at times. Hey, live the coin lifestyle, own your world, and become a disruptionista today.